And as we share the mystery, God in human form, the miracle lives inside of me, and another child is born. Day of the children, day of the children, day of the child.
Beautiful, Steve. I love that one. Well, good morning, everyone, and Merry Christmas to you. Oh, it's a joy to see all of you here this morning. We've been talking about the gifts of Christmas, and the gifts of Christmas are within every one of us. And we've been talking about Charles Fillmore's The 12 Powers. I call them 12 gifts because they are actually an amazing gift of that divine nature that's within every one of us. And moving up into the Christmas season, it's a wonderful time to celebrate the unfolding of those spiritual gifts. And we've talked about faith and strength and wisdom. We've talked about love and power, imagination, understanding and will, and order. And we're going to talk today a little bit about zeal and elimination, or renunciation's another term, and then life. I came across a wonderful story about, there was 3 young boys who were in a Christmas play at school. And they represented the 3 wise men, and they were to give their gifts to the baby Jesus. And the first boy stepped forward and held out the gift in his hands and said, "Gold." And the second one stepped up and gave his gifts and said, "Myrrh." And the third one stepped up and said, "Frank sent this." See, I love the innocence of children, and I love the innocence of the holiday season of Christmas. I love the innocence of this understanding and this idea that the presence of God was demonstrated and expressed in this world through a child, through a newborn child. And to me, that is such an important and valuable, significant gift and a significant symbol for you and I and for every one of us. As we awaken, it is like an awakening of a new birth. I want to read to you from Matthew chapter 1, starting with chapter 1, verse 18, starting with 18. Now the birth of Jesus Christ took place in this way. When his mother Mary had been betrothed to Joseph, before they came together, she was found to be with child of the Holy Spirit. And her husband Joseph, being a just man and unwilling to put her to shame, resolved to divorce her quietly. But as she considered this, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream, saying, "Joseph, son of David, do not fear to take Mary for your wife. For that which is conceived in her is of the Holy Spirit. She will bear a son, and you shall call his name Jesus. For he will save his people from their sins." And all this took place to fulfill what the Lord had spoken by the prophets. "Behold, a virgin shall conceive, bear a son, and his name shall be called Emmanuel," which means God with us. And then I want to read over here about the wise men, over in chapter 2, verse 13. "Now when they had departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream and said, 'Rise and take the child and his mother.'" Oops, I backed up a little bit. Missed my spot, sorry. Let me back up. We're actually on verse 10. "When they saw the star, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy, and going into the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they fell down and worshipped. Then opening their treasures, they offered him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh." Yeah, I love Frank sent this. "And being warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they departed to their own country by another way. So Christmas has become a time of celebration of the giving of gifts. And I think there's a real important and valuable spiritual aspect to this. You know, I know a lot of times we hear people talking about that people miss the meaning or the significance of Christmas because it gets caught up so much in materialism. And I've certainly felt that a lot in my life. But one of the things that I have really also become to recognize is that even though we are using that holiday to give even material gifts, to me it's really important to really consider the energy and the consciousness of giving gifts. And giving gifts are really, in a very real sense, what you and I are here to do. We're really here to give the gifts of our own unique divine nature. In unity, we call that the Christ within. Every one of us has this unique spiritual nature. It's not the same for every one of us, and yet all of us have these same qualities of spirit that come out in different forms and different ways and different variations. And that's what these divine qualities of the 12 powers are really about. It's a coming together of spiritual nature. It's a coming together and then presenting those and giving those, not just to family and friends, but just giving them in the world. And this whole story is about this expression and this experience of letting that divine nature come out and to let it develop within us and to let it come out in ways that we perhaps had not been able to before, and allow the season to come forward in a way that allows us to not only to learn more of those, to develop more of those, and then to be able to express them. I love this little story I came across. A young son said to his mom, "Mom, you were right." "I am? Wait a minute, let me get a tape of this." The boy says, "Look at all the ads for toys and games and stuff. None of this is about peace or goodwill or the spirit of the season. It's all about buying stuff, just like you said." And Mom was kind of proud and said, "You know, you're a pretty cool dude." And the son says, "Well, yeah, this is a great time to be a kid." Well, it is a great time to be a kid. And there's, you know, receiving material things is a fun thing, and it's a good thing. So I just really celebrate even giving the gifts of Christmas. But at the same time, I also want us to recognize there are greater gifts, and there are more gifts that we can give, and there are gifts that we can experience and receive in life. Came across this quote from a TV show. How many of you ever saw the TV show Doogie Howser, MD? Remember that one? Yeah. Doogie Howser said, "Getting is good, giving is better. Once you understand that, it's always Christmas." It's always Christmas. And one of my Unity Minister friends, Larry Schwartz, said Christmas deals not with how Jesus came into the world, but with what came into Jesus and what must come into you and I. I think that's a great awareness. It's a great quote. It's not as much about about Jesus coming into the world, but what the awareness of that Christ nature that came into him and also must come into you and I in our lives. And so one of the great spiritual qualities that Charles Fillmore illuminates in the 12 powers is the quality of zeal. And the quality of zeal, another term that we use for zeal is enthusiasm. Enthusiasm. One of the things that I have to say about Christmas is there's always a lot of enthusiasm, if you think about it. Boy, the kids are really enthusiastic, aren't they? It's excitement and it's energy of just a high energy vibration, of fun, of play. That's a great gift that you and I can learn from them, actually, is to really learn how to tap into that energy of zeal and enthusiasm. Because the reality is, without the energy of zeal and enthusiasm, You and I don't manage to get up in the morning, to be honest. It's really what allows us to move forward in life. It allows us to accomplish those things that we choose to accomplish. Another term that oftentimes is used in modern terms is passion. What is it that we have passion for? It's the energy of passion is what allows us to create, but also to act and to follow through on those things that we have passion for. In fact, nothing ever gets done or completed truly without some kind of energy of passion and enthusiasm. Wouldn't you agree? And so I think there's an energy that comes through us. In fact, if you think about the word enthusiasm comes from the word entheos. Entheos is inspired of God. It also can mean inspired from God. It also can be inspired God. The word inspired is really interesting also in this, entheos. The word inspired means to breathe in. In a very real sense, when we are in the energy of enthusiasm, we are allowing the energy of the divine. We are breathing it in, but we're also allowing it to breathe in us. It also means to be filled with that presence. So when you breathe in, when you inspire, when you are inspired, you are being filled with the presence of God. And from that place, you also can express more of that presence of God. So the energy of inspiration, of zeal, is a very powerful and important gift for us to develop in our lives because it allows us to move through a lot of the challenges and difficulties that we face in life. Without an energy of zeal and enthusiasm, the moment that we meet an obstacle, we're going to basically go, well, so what? We're not going to do that. It doesn't allow us to continue to move forward through the challenges and difficulties and obstacles in life unless we have more of that energy of passion, of enthusiasm. The faculty of zeal makes its home in us and is developed in us in ways that allow us to experience an upliftment of our awareness, of our passion, of our possibilities of greater good in life. They keep us moving in that direction. Winifred Wilkinson Hausman basically gives these steps for developing more of that energy of enthusiasm in life. She said, first, it starts with dissatisfaction, which I thought was really very interesting. She says, divine satisfaction urges you to something better. It's up to you to respond to this urge by taking steps to improve the circumstances or situation. The next one is actually having a desire. The desire, to me, is de and sire, which means of the Father or for the Father. It's really a desire to know and experience more of the divine. As you learn to pay attention to the desires of your heart, you awaken to a mighty impulse to move forward in life, to a greater expression of spiritual experience and qualities. And this is what really allows us to follow up and follow through in expressing more of our divine nature. And then next is a dedication. You might say a commitment. Yeah, it's the C word, you know. Commitment. I know sometimes that's a challenge for us, but you know, you can't really make a commitment to something unless there's also some enthusiasm and some compassion behind it. You won't follow through on a commitment unless you do have some of that energy of zeal about it. And then zeal itself, she says, correctly establishing in wisdom, zeal is a spiritual activity that awakens the power of life and light and love and all of the other divine qualities. And when we really tap into the energy of enthusiasm, the energy of passion, and what we are passionate about in life and what we're passionate for in life, it actually releases within us what she calls genius. She said the word genius comes from the Latin word meaning guardian deity and designates the person who is so in tune with spirit within, or that he or she continually expresses more of that divine nature. So I think that's a very powerful understanding, that one of the ways that we really release the spiritual genius within us is through being and allowing that enthusiasm to come through and to develop more in life. So the next one that we want to talk about is the energy and the consciousness of elimination. When I think about Christmas time, it's sometimes hard to think about the idea of elimination when it comes to Christmas, because it seems like it's always so much about giving and receiving and that sort of thing. But at the same time, in order to really develop more of our unique divine nature, we have to be in a place and a consciousness and an energy, a willingness to let go. Wouldn't you agree? A lot of our, in fact, we can't never really give a gift in any way unless we're willing to let go of the gift. Wouldn't you agree? And so part of our understanding and development in life is learning and tapping into the gift of elimination. Another word that we use is renunciation. It's letting go of those things that are no longer serving us. But it's more than anything just simply the energy and the consciousness of letting go. It's releasing. And the ability to release. Take a nice deep breath. I'm going to ask you to hold this through the rest of my lesson. What's funny? I mean, what would you do without the ability to let go? We would expire. That's what would happen. We would all expire if we couldn't let go. It's important for us to let go, and it's important for us to honor and recognize the ability to let go is one of our most significant gifts, because the reality is I cannot get over there unless I'm willing to let go of being here. I cannot move into a higher awareness and vibration unless I'm also willing to let go of the energy and the vibration that I'm at now. So one of our most beautiful gifts of Christmas is the ability to simply let go. To let go of who we think we are, to let go of our limitations, to let go of our fears, to let go of all of the projections that we have on all of them. Remember, all of them? To let go of the belief in separation, to let go of the idea that we are somehow limited in space and time, to let go of this idea that we are stuck. Part of our work as a spiritual being is to peel the layers of the onion. Yes, occasionally when you peel the layers of the onion, you get a little bit in your eye, right? And sometimes they're tears. And sometimes we find ourselves having difficulties letting go, and we cry a little bit. But without that, we are no longer in an energy of life that leads us to our I don't want to say the last of our 12 powers, because they're all continually ongoing, aren't they? They are continually developing and growing within us, and we are continually giving opportunities to learn and grow from them. This celebration time of Christmas is really a wonderful time of celebration of the energy and the consciousness of life. To me, there's no better symbol for the life than the birth of a child. And the symbolism of Jesus being born at this time is a symbol of the Christ that's being born in every one of us. It is the life of the divine that is continually renewing, continually developing, continually being expressed, and it is a miracle in itself that we are participating in this consciousness and this energy of life. You see, one of the things that we have a tendency to do is to think that life is somehow limited, that somehow if this physical form no longer exists, that we don't have life anymore. And to me, that's one of the saddest and one of the most difficult concepts for us to let go of, is to recognize that the life that is in us has never, ever stopped and will never stop. It is ongoing. It is eternal. It is immortal. And therefore, you and I, in our true nature, our true spiritual nature, are absolutely immortal. We are beyond these physical forms. And yet, we saw a wonderful, in Avatar, there was a great quote last night in the movie we were watching last night, and I was trying to recall it. It basically says that you and I all are basically energy, but at some point we need to give that back. We are borrowed energy. That's how it was put. The energy in us, the life in us is borrowed energy. And eventually we are going to give that back, at least in the form that we're in right now. And that's what we really want to comprehend. The form that we're in is not the life of us. It is simply the form that we're in. And life is an energy that is ongoing. It's an energy and a consciousness and a vibration, and it is that which animates all of creation. It's that which brings into animation all of the experiences and expressions that we call life out here in the world. And yet everything in the universe has this energy and has life in some form, in some way. Different variations, different vibrations, but they're all expressions of the divine life. And so in order to develop more of the energy and the qualities of life in us, one of the things that Winifred Wilkerson Hausman tells us is there's steps that we can take to experience more of that energy of life in us. One is to recognize it, to acknowledge it, to recognize and to identify and acknowledge the life that is within us as something that's beyond our limited concepts of it. Remind yourself of the reality that God life is your life, and that God's life, energy, is the power that animates your whole being. That you live and move and have your being in God life. The next is sensation. Senses, impressions can help us to know and experience life. Sensations helps bring awareness of divine life in every cell and atom of our being. We know because we experience, we feel it. And then there's an appropriation of more life. You can actually experience more energy of life by affirming and by holding an awareness of that vibration and the energy of life in a wholeness concept, in a wholeness image, in a wholeness awareness. Holding and understanding that life itself is always complete and full. And then there's a transformation that happens as we begin to honor the life in every cell of our body. Myrtle Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, in fact, we wouldn't even be in Unity had she not honored the life in the cells of her body. She was stricken with tuberculosis and was taught from the time she was a child that she would always have this and would probably die from it. But she went to a wonderful lecture by a man by the name of E.B. Weeks who said, "You are a child of God, therefore you do not inherit sickness." There's a wholeness within every cell of your being that is absolute divine life. And the more we can hold that image for ourselves, the more we begin to show that and manifest that in different ways in life. And it's a wonderful practice to really honor the cells of our body, the cells, and see them operating and functioning in whole and healthy and harmonious ways. It's a healing practice that really does make a difference. We shared a story this morning about someone who was encouraged to do that, and I'm just looking forward to hearing good things coming from them. But I've seen some amazing experiences of people turning around health challenges simply by practicing honoring and loving the life in the cells of their bodies. Life is an idea in the mind and an activity in body, and appreciating that life and that energy is what helps to stimulate it even more in us and in our activities. So we give thanks for the life that's already there, and we give thanks for an infilling and an expression of more of that life, not only in our physical forms, but in our vibrancy in life. So we've talked about all of these 12 qualities that we celebrate, and I relate them to the 12 days of Christmas, which is a wonderful, wonderful song and story and tradition. As we complete this process, we're going to have a wonderful ceremony Christmas Eve that helps us to bring more of those spiritual qualities into our energy and our consciousness, and to recognize and to allow those to develop in ways that are unique for us, because we combine all of these spiritual qualities in unique ways. Every Christmas gift is a little different, and every gift that we have is a little different also. So I invite you to come and participate in that, but if you're not able to be here in person, in your own heart during this time and this season, I invite you to really contemplate and reflect on and meditate on these 12 divine qualities, and begin to notice how they are awakening within you and the opportunities you have to allow them to awaken. One of my friends, Unity Minister James Gaither, quotes Meister Eckhart. He says, "God bears His only begotten Son in you, whether you like it or not. Whether you are sleeping or waking, He does His part." And so regardless of how you deal with your participation in the situations in your life, take time, and this is a quote from Catherine Ponder. She says, "Take time to visit with the Christ in you. That can be your greatest Christmas gift to yourself and others, as it opens the way for harmony, abundance, joy, energy, and peace." So remember that the one whose birth that we celebrate at Christmas said, "You are the light of the world." This is, I believe, the greatest gift of Christmas. Christ in you, these divine qualities awakening in you. Thank you. I love it. It's the perfect gift. God bless you. All right, let's move into our meditation time. So let's take a nice deep breath and breathe into the heart space. And just be open to allow the energy of zeal, yes, enthusiasm for the Spirit, to come into the heart and raise the vibrations and feel the excitement and the anticipation of good, of the possibilities of a greater experience and knowing of our divine nature. I invite you to allow the energy of release, of elimination, of renunciation to come into your heart, and let go of those things that would block or stand in the way or cloud our awareness of that unique expression of the Christ child, that awakening spirit of life and wholeness, of love, faith and wisdom and understanding and will. And breathe the breath that is life Allow that life energy to expand in every cell, to be harmonized with the energy of God life. Feel that vibration, that vitality. Feel it unfolding, expressing. And give thanks, knowing that the newborn Christ is awakening in us. Not only on Christmas Day, but each day. And the greatest gift that we have to receive and to give is the gift of that Christ nature within. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Blessed Spirit. Take a nice deep breath and let your heart expand in fullness. Expand in oneness, expand in beauty and light and joy and peace. And so it is. Thank you. Take a nice deep breath now. As you breathe in and out, let your awareness return into this room, this time and place, and give thanks for the gift of the Christ in you. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes.